Hi everyone, welcome to MSCR Makes. I'm Miss Julia and today we'll be making sun catchers. For this project you will need some paper, whatever color you have on hand will work just fine. Some tissue paper. If you do not have tissue paper, you can use some paper towel or another thin type of paper and color it with markers. You'll need a bowl or some other sort of container that you're able to put little bits of tissue paper in. You'll need a pair of scissors, some tape. You can either use packing tape or just regular old clear tape will work too. You'll need a surface that you can do the tape part on, so something that the tape will not stick to. I'm going to use a plate. And then if you would like to be able to hang yours up in the window, you can also grab some string or thread. I'll wait so that you can pause the video and gather your supplies. Now that you've had a chance to gather your supplies, I'm going to move some things so we can see what we're doing better. The first step of this project is to cut up a bunch of little bits of tissue paper. Remember, if you do not have tissue paper, you could take a little bit of paper towel and color it with your markers instead. Those will work just as well as a little bit of tissue paper. I'm going to start with this teal colored tissue paper, but you can use whatever you have on hand. I'm going to cut a little strip so that it is easier to manage. Next, I'm going to take my bowl and cut little bits of the tissue paper into my bowl. If you don't like using the scissors to cut, it's also fun to rip little pieces of tissue paper. Once you have enough little pieces of tissue paper, you can go on to another color. I've already cut up several other colors. Here they are in my muffin tray. I'm going to set all of these aside so that we can do the second part of the project. The second part of the project is making the outline of your sun catcher. I'm going to show you an example so that you have an idea what we're doing. Here is an example of a sun catcher that I made earlier. The part that we're doing right now is this outside edge. That outside edge will help keep our sun catcher together. So what you'll do is grab your piece of paper. There are two ways to do this. The first way is if you fold your piece of paper in half, you can cut using your folded line to help you. First, I'm going to think of the shape that I would like my second sun catcher to be. I'll make this one a square. So what I'm going to do is draw half of a square, with one half of it being on my folded edge. If I were to unfold my paper, the other half of my square would sit on the other side. I'm also going to make a smaller square inside of my larger square. This way I will have an outline or a frame, just like how this one has an outside part and an inside part. I'm going to cut on the lines that I made and also cut on these ones too. Now I have a nice little square to make another sun catcher with. If you would like to make a different, more intricate shape, you can also make the shape that you want, draw it on your paper, make a similar one that's on the inside, and then you can use your scissors to cut out your shape. You can make as many as you would like. You can even try making some shapes first and decide which ones you want to make into sun catchers. First, I'm cutting out the outside. Next, I'll cut out the inside part of this shape. To do that, I find it easiest if I fold it just a little bit and make a cut right in the middle. So now I have a little cut right here in the middle of my shape. I can then put my scissors in and cut out the rest. If you have trouble cutting with scissors, you can practice and have your grown-up help you for some of the harder bits. There, now I have an outline of a fun squiggly shape too. You can really make whatever shape you want. I've made a heart here, and here's a butterfly. Use your imagination and create whatever shapes you want for your sun catchers. I think I will show you the rest of my example using this heart. So, for the rest of this, we'll need our plate so that things won't get stuck to it. We'll need either our little tape or our bigger tape, and all of our different colors. The first thing I'm going to do is lay my paper shape out on my plate. I'm next going to get into my tape here and cut myself off some pieces. Each time I cut off a piece, I'm going to lay it over the top of my paper shape. This is why I'm using a plate to do this. If I did it on my paper background, the tape would just stick to the paper background and it would kind of ruin my project. It's okay if you need to use lots of pieces of tape to get everything covered. As long as you get everything covered, that's the important part. There's the last piece I need. Now, I'm going to carefully pick everything up off of my plate. I think a piece of tape is stuck over here too. There we go. So I'm going to peel everything off of my plate. You want to do this a little carefully so that you don't ruin your shape. Mine got a little messed up at the bottom, but that's okay. The next thing I'm going to do is lay my paper and tape so that the sticky side is up. If you have trouble keeping it on the table, what you can do is gently tuck under the pieces of tape so that your project does not move around. The next thing I'm going to do is take little bits of tissue paper that I already cut up, and I'm going to fill in the whole middle part of my shape. You can use whatever colors you have on hand for this part. For the next part, you have some options. If you like how this side looks just like this, you can go ahead and put tape over the top of it right now. If you want it to have a slightly cleaner look, you're going to want to cut out the same shape again, and you'll be able to put it on to your project so that you can cover up all of the edges. Either way is good. It doesn't matter. It's your project and you get to do it how you would like. I'll leave this one with the raw paper edges for this example. Next, I'm going to take my tape again and get some more pieces. I'm going to do the same thing just on this side that doesn't have tape yet. So I'm going to lay down a whole bunch of tape. My goal here is to cover up all of my paper, the tissue paper and the regular paper. I'm kind of making a sandwich with the tape. The paper is the filling. There we go. Now that everything is covered, I can pick it up off of my plate. The next thing that you're going to want to do is cut off the extra bits of tape that are kind of all over the place right now. I'll use my scissors and carefully cut around the outside. Do you see how I'm leaving a little bit of a tape border? If you don't leave the tape border and you cut onto the paper, your sun catcher will not stick together. So just leave a little bit of a border as you're cutting. There we go. So here is my sun catcher. That looks pretty cool. I think I'm going to hang this in my window. So what I'm going to do is, if I had a hole puncher, I would use my hole puncher and punch a hole, but I don't have a hole puncher at home. That's okay. What I can do instead is choose where I want my hole to be. I think I'm going to put it in the corner of this heart. I'm going to fold my heart in half just a little bit. I'm going to use my scissors to carefully cut a small hole. I'm making this a triangle shape, but when it's open, it will be a diamond shape. There we go. Then I'll grab my yarn. You can use string or thread, whatever you have on hand. And I'm going to put it through the little hole I made and make some knots. And I'll cut off any extra. Wow, that looks pretty cool. I hope you enjoy this project. I know I had fun making it. Here is my two examples. This one's a flower and this one's a heart. Use your imagination and figure out the things that you would like your sun catchers to be. I'm going to put a photo right here of what my sun catchers look like when they're up in my window. I hope you enjoyed this project. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!